And I would like to look at this more as an introduction than a sales type thing. We love what we do, and we have the chance to do it all over the country. And the feedback, the responses, the organizations that tell us how their cultures have been impacted is really the joy of our work. We're big on seeing organizational cultures where you have synergy, you have good relationships, growth opportunity, people are good, honest, effective communications, those type of things. And then obviously with my message of self-care, that people are taking care of themselves and in such a manner that they bring tremendous value to their teams because of the benefits of self-care that leads to wellness. So let me kind of just go into some of this and share with you all just a little bit about who we are and what we do. And so could y'all see that okay? Just a thumbs up. You can see it all right. Or whoop, whoop, whatever. You want to spin it around there? No, don't do all that. So anyway, so this is who we are. I'm letting you know I am in a shared space, so it's not just me. So, we're pretty quiet here, but you never know. In any moment, it could be a little bit of noise. So where I'm currently situated right now. So I'm Daryl Andrews, Coach D. I'm the Chief Passion Officer, as I like to put it, is Daryl Andrews, LLC and Associates. We are a firm that's been around for quite a few years. I'm honored to say that this book, The Self-Care Movement, was just completed a week ago. So we're very excited about that. And this other book that we're writing, Post-Pandemic Leadership, we're looking at enhancing recruitment and retention with this one. That should be done in about a month. I've been writing these books forever, but I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I want to make sure that they're good books that's going to be informative. And as you can see by our titles, we're big on anything relating to post-pandemic. We have two organizations kind of merged into one, Daryl Andrews LLC and Empowering Self-Care. And they're, kind of one and the same, but, one kind of focuses 100% of its efforts on self-care systems that lead to wellness, and the other, we do multiple trainings and coaching programs for our customers pretty much throughout the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean. That's kind of our core markets that we do work in. Again, we've been a respected firm for 22 years. I speak to all over the country at conferences. I think I don't know, I said 3,000. I think it's about 4,000 people at this conference. Get invited to speak quite a bit. Which I always jokingly tell my team, I guess I must know something to get invited to these conferences. And of course, I got invited to the best conference, Jacksonville SHRM, right? That's the best one. And I enjoyed my time there with the folks there. That was fantastic. Thanks for that invite, which led me to where I am here today. And so we get a chance to do that. These are just a few of our people on my team. We have some great people who love this work. And we pinch ourselves saying sometimes it doesn't feel like work, even though we work hard because we're very passionate about this team. So each of these wonderful people are playing a specific role. We got about 10 in total, and then we have another 15 that we subcontract work out to different projects that we're working on. So in total, about 25 people. And I have access to a whole lot more if I need, because I have a wide network of colleagues out there who are very good at what they do, and we work well together. So I'm honored that, go from an idea many years ago to having the kind of impact we've been having. I'm very excited and proud of the work and proud of this team of ours. Our mission is to use innovation and motivation to create a post-pandemic workplace. What I see here is that, and we've been in hundreds of organizations since the pandemic is lifted, the workplace has changed. And I know that we have a 20% clinically diagnosed depression rate in our country. 35% with millennials. The trauma rates are through the roof. For every 100,000 people that need therapy, there's only 300 therapists. There's a lot going on right now, and a lot of that was a result of the pandemic. And so what we understand is that the workplace that we had 5-6 years ago is not the workplace we have today. The people have changed. And I think that we're kind of in, this may sound strange, I hope you can understand where I'm going with this. We're kind of in the same space we were when the Great Depression hit. When the Great Depression hit, everything shifted. And what happened was some people understood that, okay, it's shifted, we need to shift. And some people said, well, we're going to remain the same. And the ones who made the shift are still surviving and doing well, striving to this day. But the ones who decide, no, we're going to try to force fit what it was into what we want it to be now, they no longer exist. So what we're saying is that we're in a post-pandemic workplace, and that leaders within organization need to really understand that and create their cultures around it. And this is I'm what do you say, preaching to the choir, speaking to you all in HR, but this is just give you an idea how we think as a company. All right. And so that's what we believe: innovation and motivation, critical. We focus on four specific areas of post-pandemic culture. There's another conference. Like I said, I speak at a lot of conferences all over the country, and we'll just go through these quickly. So self-care empowerment systems. We have virtual, live, self-paced. The self-paced, we have some courses that we've created, like the DEI from the Inside Out, which we partner with an organization out of Texas. But we also have a thing now where we have a lot of folks who are saying, Coach, we got 50,000 employees and we don't want them all to go through Zoom training. So could we create something, that's a little bit branded with our company, and so that they can go through that, and then we sign an agreement, and there's all kinds of paperwork, obviously, because that's proprietary for information. But we've done that. That's a big part of what we're really trying to put out there with our work as well. So we have the leadership post-pandemic. We have self-care empowerment systems. Our belief simply there is this, and that is self-care is a precursor to wellness. A lot of folks have wellness initiatives. A lot of people are talking about wellness. And my thing is, I'm countering it by telling people, you can't talk about wellness if you don't talk about self-care, because it's self-care that leads to wellness. It leads to a better quality of life. It leads to a decrease in depression rates. All these things are really encapsulated in self-care, but we make self-care just one little thing within wellness. And what I always say, no, it is the thing to wellness. And so I applaud all the wellness initiatives out there, but we realize that there's one component to this that we're not looking at enough, is how do we get people to own their self-care? And that's the piece that we feel through our, and I'll explain it in just a few moments. And then we have our post-pandemic leadership training and coaching. And you'll see in just a moment, we have a new definition of leadership that has been created post-pandemic that we're coaching leaders to, because it's hard to change things when you've always been doing things a certain way for a long period of time. So some leaders need to be coached on dealing with this population. And then diversity, equity, inclusion from the inside out. That was actually produced out of frustration for me, because I got tired of the negative challenges that were taking place with all the DEI training. And I said, we're going to create something where we can have some conversations and help people to understand that DEI is not just about race and things like that. DEI is about creating a culture where people feel valued, welcome, and appreciated. And so it could be gender, it could be age, it could be a variety of things, but we create a battle because we make it about race. And in the workplace, you got all kinds of people working there. You got people with disabilities, things like that. And so we're saying, let's look at it and bring a more of a humanistic approach. So we'll talk about that for half a minute here. And then we have post-pandemic teamwork and core values, which, that is really unique now because we have these hybrid models. Some people working at home, some people working in the office, and some people doing a combination. So how do we keep our team solid with all of this movement going on that didn't really exist 5 years ago? All right, so I just want to share those with you, and I'm gonna go through each one a little bit. That's me at SHRM right there, my hands up in the air. That's speaking at the conference a few weeks ago. Had a great turnout at both events. Pam was McGee, the president of the Go Great Orlando SHRM, was there helping me, and I just really appreciated that. She was phenomenal, and I was so appreciative of her support. And but we talk about systems, and this is a very important point that I want to bring out right now in this presentation. The reason why we call it systems is because self-care is not an event; it's a system. And we really, I don't know if any of you ever heard the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's one of my favorite books now. But he talks in that book about, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And so everything I'm going to share with you, we have frameworks for, because really the goal is to get it from what we do to who we are. Like with self-care, what we're saying our companies, we get a chance to work with, is that you want this to be a part of your DNA. This is just how we operate. This is how we operate. And so we're saying it's beyond just, hey, let's have a good motivational rah-rah around self-care. And that's fine too. We do a bunch of those. But if we do, the hope is that we're doing a motivational rah-rah and you have a strong wellness program in place. So it's beyond just bringing a person in to inspire folks and we don't have anything there for them to follow up with. So we talk a lot about integration. How do you integrate self-care? Because we mentioned a little earlier that self-care is a precursor to wellness. So how do we get people to own the self-care journey? And the more people we can get on our teams and our employees to own it, the healthier we're going to be. Probably more productive we'll be, and then also definitely from a culture standpoint, it's going to be better. So that's self-care to wellness integration. We have leadership coaching. Sometimes some leaders feel as though, hey, we want our own little individual thing because we're tired, burnt out, we're doing a lot. So we have individual and group coaching to help leaders to embrace self-care. And a lot of times what we find is that the leaders may embrace it for themselves and then they become the ambassadors. And then the teams see them doing it and it becomes a thing where they have more of an image and a role model of self-care. And then we have, this is sort of new. I partner with an event planning company and we plan events. So if you're doing a retreat or if you're doing a, all staff event or whatever, and you want to make it about self-care, where we can help create those. And again, going back to what I said in the beginning, it could be virtual, not just what I'm talking about, the events, but virtual live with all the other things. All right, so that's self-care. Then the post-pandemic leadership is really, again, the byproduct of what took place during the pandemic. I mean, people were just simply traumatized. And so now we're going back to work. And then I was give you an example, I was on a call with about 100 CEOs of some mid-sized manufacturing firms. And this one president was livid about, well, why do we have to do this now? And why do we have to do that now? Is it all about the people? And I said, well, sir, yeah, it is. I said, and this is during the time when we're really having some challenges with retention, which I think we still are to this day. But I told him, the reality is this: what you've become comfortable with doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't exist. And you're trying to create something from that's gone. And so I said, how many people are you short right now? He said 45. My point. That's my point exactly. You can't leave this generation like it was last. You can't even do that from a Gen Z or it's just different now. And so what we're saying is, like, the old definition of leadership was the ability to guide, govern, and influence. What we're telling our leaders, we're saying, hey, now it's the ability to listen, to understand, and to engage. You can't be doing 20 things. You got to put the cell phone down, put the computer down, and listen to what folks are saying. Be engaged with them and have conversations, because what we're finding is that that's what people are desiring more today than before. Again, I think it has a lot. So we do a group and one-on-one coaching. What we're finding is, what's really nice is that the companies we've had a chance to work with, it's just brought such a sense of synergy to the leadership team themselves, because they're all kind of hearing the same message. But if it's like individual coaching, they have a safe space to share some things, which is nice. So now we can work through some things that they may be, sort of challenged with. So that's the leadership coaching. Again, I'm not selling, I'm just laying it out there for you so you can see. And then from DEI, from the inside out, we actually do DEI leadership coaching too. That's another piece of our work, but it's a fresh approach to diversity. It's humanistic. It's designed to unite versus divide. And we have a framework called the 3M framework: mindset, motivation, and memorization. When we talk about those three components, when implemented in DEI, make DEI work. And I don't want to go through all of that right now because it would take a while, but I can tell you one piece of it, and that's the mindset part. We do place a strong emphasis on Dr. Carol Dweck's, you may have heard of her book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. And what she talks about in there is what's called a growth mindset. And so any change initiatives takes a growth mindset, because a fixed mindset will keep it looping forever. But a growth mindset is willing to take on new things, try new ideas. And so we try to get our teams that we work with, which we're their teammates. Whenever we work with someone, we're their teammate, to understand and embrace the idea of a growth mindset. So I'll just talk about that one piece. I'm not going to talk about motivation and memorization, but that framework has helped quite a bit. As you can see here, we do them virtual and we do them live. This is a group out of the state of Washington that we were working with. virtual. And then post-pandemic teamwork and core values, we considered a new model. One thing we'd always try to get leaders to do, and it's not just leaders, but teams, they have what's called virtual cups of coffee. I'm a sports fanatic when it comes to football. And that's why I was enjoying that stadium we were in. Even though it wasn't my team, I still enjoyed the stadium, even though they did steal my coach, though, Doug Peterson. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. So, and but we talk about having virtual. So people, we say when you're on a team, like a sports teams win because the players know each other. They have a good understanding of each other's strengths, weaknesses, things like that, and they support and encourage each other. When a player is down, they don't kick them, they lift them up. Say, okay, let's get back out there and do what we need to do. So we say in the workplace, it should be the same way. Where we're building that team synergy, that camaraderie around what it is we do. This year I was invited to speak to 8,000 Walmart leaders. They flew me in on a private jet. So if you ever invite me to Jacksonville, you got to fly from private jet. Anyway, from Orlando. But anyway, we spoke to them about, integration and their core values. They have 4 core values, and they do a pretty good job of it, but they just wanted somebody to bring a little extra to it and invited me in to speak to all their leaders, literally worldwide. 3/4 of them were satellited. They had them on satellite, and there's about 2,000 that were there in Bentonville. And so they understand the power of it. And at that time, they were the #1 company in the world. They're not that big. They're still up there, but they're not in that position anymore. And then understanding personalities. A lot of times people don't work well in teams because they just don't understand the differences in styles. And so we talk about that, and then making them a priority, core values, them being core values in team building. I'll say this and I'll conclude with this piece. I always tell people hiring people does not create, it can create a team. But if you want a successful team, you got to add the building part, which means that we're trying to build something from this team. I always say that, and you look at the word team in dictionary, it basically says an assembling of people. But in order for the team to be a success, you got to build, which means you got to go through forming, storming, norming, and performing. Can't remember his name, Daniel, I can't remember his last name, but his work, where he talks about this, Bruce Tuckman, I'm sorry. So we got to go through this process of building this team into what we want this team to be. And I always tell companies and organizations and nonprofits, whoever we're working with, medical groups, it doesn't even matter, that hiring people doesn't create a team that you want. You got to work at it. And you got to say, this is the outcome we want, and be it via in-house staff or outside consultants, come in and build that out so that you can have the culture you want because you put the work in. All right. And so those are our 4 domains. What am I hoping? And this is, I first spoke to Kent and the leaders there, your leadership team, that, I didn't, in lieu of a fee, I just wanted to come in and introduce myself and my team. And, my hope is to become a training and coaching resource from Florida. We're still sort of new to Florida. We've been here for a couple of years. 90% of my work is out of here, 95 outside of the state. We're trying to do more here, but I've been doing this 20-something years, and the majority of it was in other parts of this country. So that makes sense. We're still sort of new here to Florida. So I'm hoping that will increase, not to be a one-hit wonder. And what I mean by that is nice to invite us in and do a speech, and I can do those all day long. But maybe we can sit down and talk about with the leaders about how do we create these systems that can produce the kind of culture that we wanted. And that maybe could become a little bit more of us coaching and maybe doing some consulting. And then to partner with you to customize our work to your specific needs. I don't believe in being the sage on the stage, and nor do I want my consultants to be. We don't know it all, but working together with some things we can figure out and build it specifically to your individual needs. So that's kind of what we hope. And, Florida is where I am. I'm going to retire here one day and it's enjoy the palm trees. Not quite there yet, but that's kind of what we hope. So this is who we are. This is some information on where we could be reached. If you want to just have a conversation, we can do that. If you'd like to have a face-to-face meeting, I'll drive up. It's no problem. We're in Florida. It doesn't take me long to get there. We are willing to do a gratis virtual lunch and learn. And what I mean by that, you may have some leaders that say, okay, we'd like to hear a little bit more. I don't know, grab some lunch, and then we can just sit down and have maybe a good, 40-minute or so session on any of these topics. and we would customize it specifically to what your needs are. And then from there, you can say, hey, this makes sense. We want to do more. Or it may be, hey, you know, at least we got to know each other, you know. So that's all I have for you. Are there any questions that you may have?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got some questions, Coach D. So I'll just speak in hypotheticals, but do you do train like one-on-one training with new CEOs who have come into organizations, particularly with organizations that are like experiencing some like rapid change, and maybe the new CEO, there's fear of job loss, other things like that. People aren't communicating well, so it's like this person needs to modify or adjust how they communicate with their senior leadership team. Do you do that type of training?
Yes. Yes. It's not strange that you mentioned that because we have a national organization that just called us up yesterday for that. They have a new CEO
Okay.
coming in and they're dealing with some issues. And so we're going to be, not only are we going to be working with him, we're going to be working with his leadership team. So yeah, we do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll reach out to you offline then.
Okay. That'd be great. Let's just reach out to one of these numbers here or emails here. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Man, I must really be good. I'm sorry.
You'll send the video over and we'll get it to anyone. There were a handful of people that couldn't make it, make sure they can see it. And we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Take a look at, I want you to take a look at that video though. I sent a few moments ago, not too long ago, because it was on the wellness stage and we had such a great time. And that little piece of information that I shared is really important to what we're doing today, because it's a story I share about my grandmother. I won't say any more than that, but it really hit home at this event because HR, as you know, is a tremendous responsibility. You have a lot of tasks, and the folks, what we shared in that little 4 or 5 minute clip just really hit home. So it could be something you can even share with some of your team members because I think it would empower them. Thank you all so much for your time, and I hope we can be of help. We can schedule a meeting. You got my information. We'd love to be of help, and then let others know about us, even if it's not for your organization. You know other people. If we see there's a need, please feel free to share us. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
You got it. Bye-bye now.